Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Shreya Dhondial. An hour ago, Maharashtra's health minister has announced that the state's first experiment with plasma therapy has been successful. Now, Delhi's chief minister earlier this month called it a ray of hope. What we are talking about on the show today at 6:30 is plasma therapy. Are we jumping the gun, or is it the only right now cure, sure shot cure available for COVID? Dr. Trupti Gilada is an infectious disease physician of the Prince Ali Khan Hospital and the Masina Hospital. She's joining us on the show. We have Dr. Chhabra, who's joining us from Delhi as well. He's the medical director of the Indian Spinal Injury Center. Let me come to you, Dr. Gilada, first. The government of India is almost saying that plasma therapy right now, if it's not being done on an experimental basis, is illegal. Why is that? Given that the United States of America has seen remarkable success with plasma therapy when it comes to curing COVID patients.
So in my personal opinion, I think there is a dichotomy in the guidelines or the statements that are being given by the ministry, because we all know that 5 or 6 weeks back, hydroxychloroquine was advised as a prophylactic medicine for healthcare workers, and we also know that a lot of people ordered that medicine and did take that medicine. In that scenario, there was no evidence whatsoever, not even anecdotal evidence, to say that hydroxychloroquine had any benefit in prophylaxis. On the other hand, we have seen plasma therapy, we have seen reports from the US, from our country itself, where it is being used in very critical patients or seriously ill patients, and it has shown some success. Now, what's important is to understand is hydroxychloroquine was being given in an absolutely non-controlled setting, where patients were not even being monitored. In this scenario, plasma therapy is given in major institutes. It's not that any clinic or any center can just start giving plasma therapy. They understand what they're doing. It's a case-by-case decision, and the patient is in a very controlled setting. So I think such a statement sends across a wrong message that this is like a wrong therapy for COVID. I agree that we don't have absolute proof of its efficiency, but in this, when we don't have any other antiviral specifically for COVID, we will be using anything that has anecdotal benefits in India or in other countries.
Okay, let's quickly get our first caller. This is Ajit, who's calling us from Kochi. After that, I'll come to Dr. Chhabra. Ajit, please go ahead. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. My question is, since yesterday I was watching the program, and my question is for not related with plasma therapy. It's a general question that most of the people are telling that now due to the COVID-19 issues, we can work from home from all the concern related works. But my concern is my job is related with construction industry, and like me, so many people are affecting. And what is the remedy for that one? Because once construction industry is normally we have to work from the site. And we couldn't able to see. Normally, most of the people will work in the construction site. So how they will, in the future, how it will be? Could you please explain me in detail? It's a general question.
It's a good question to ask, because not everyone has the luxury to work from home. Dr. Gilada, you're an infectious disease specialist. Maybe you can take this question. The fact is that people in the construction industry will have to get to work eventually. They will have to be at site, as it were. What are the precautions you would advise someone like Kailash?
So everyone who gets back to work, in fact, not just to work, but once you step outside your house, the most important thing that we will all have to remember is physical distancing. And I think that is one concept that we are still not used to. We just assume by the face of the person that this person is healthy versus not healthy. And we know that there are asymptomatic or there are mildly symptomatic people who might have the disease, which means that once we step out of our house, we must just assume that people around us might be COVID positive, maintain a distance of 6 feet. Make sure you're wearing a mask at all times. Once you get back home, make sure that you're well cleansed. Keep in mind your hand hygiene and cough etiquettes. And with these 4 or 5 major tools that we have, we just hope that we'll be safe.
Okay. Ajit, I hope that has answered your question. Best of luck. Thank you very much for calling us. Kailash is now calling us from Mumbai. Kailash, good evening. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Nice to thank you so much for having me. The number 2 question regarding this plasma therapy. You're talking about, or is it related to construction activity or plasma? I think first it was a plasma, right? So anyway, the construction
Yes,
activity
yes.
regarding the
Our
construction
original topic
activity.
is plasma.
See, we are not yet out of this first stage of lockdown. So the question is how the work culture is going to be rather. But coming to the plasma therapy, 2 questions. Number 1 question is the plasma therapy reliable? Because we have reports from China where the donors have been absolutely, they have nowhere to be seen. They have been vanished because it's too early. It's very, very too early to talk about plasma therapy. And secondly, whether the donors, definitely we want all the donors to remain negative for whole life. But what happens if the donors become positive? Because there are reports that some few people have become positive again. They cured people after 90 days, after 30 days, after 45 days.
Okay.
So we don't know how the virus behaves. So how can the plasma therapy be? It's not cured, but here we also see, ICMR also has said that this therapy is not a foolproof. We have to be very careful what we are doing.
Okay. Okay. Let me take that question to Dr. H.S. Chhabra. Dr. Chhabra, is it too early to start pinning our hopes on plasma therapy?
Thanks, Shreya. As was being talked about, whenever we adopt any standard of care, it has to go through some routine research process, clinical research process. Actually, there is a preclinical research, and then you have various phases of research which come in. The plasma therapy right now is still in its research phases. That's what ICMR has said. There has been a publication in JAMA, and Lancet has given a commentary based on 5 cases which were treated in China, and they have published it. But there's also a history in that this therapy was used when the SARS crisis was there in 2014, and then the MERS crisis was there, and they have published then. But all these evidences are level 4 evidences, means you need a better level of evidence where you have a double-blind controlled trial. Let me explain to you this way. Now, if you adopt some new therapeutic strategy, and if you implement it in a patient, you need to clearly establish that the patient has benefited from the therapy and has not improved because he would have improved anyway as part of the natural history of the disease. So you would do what you call as a double-blind controlled trial. In one group of patients, you will give the standard of care at that time. And in another group, you would give the standard of care plus this new therapeutic strategy. And then if there is a statistically significant difference in outcome between the two, then you can definitely say, okay, those who got the therapeutic strategy, new strategy, in addition to the established standard of care did better, we can say that this has helped the patient. But if you are just giving it...
But then, you know...
Right, yeah.
But you know, doctor, then the question obviously will arise. Doctor, the question obviously will arise is that the United States of America is, of course, still not seeing this as a line of treatment. It still says that these are just experiments. But they've managed to, you know, save critically ill patients from plasma therapy. So why, you know, almost term it illegal here in India? Before we continue that conversation, let me get in another caller. This is Suresh, who's calling us from Indore. Suresh, good evening. Please go ahead.
Yeah. What is the actually how much time it will take for plasma therapy? How much time it will take for stay at hospital by the patient? That's my question.
Okay. Dr. Gilada, would you want to answer that? We know that plasma therapy is cheap, which means if it becomes a line of treatment, it will be good for India. It is something that people from across the board can probably pay for. But how long does plasma therapy take to cure you?
So I'm not sure if he meant for the patient or for the donor, but I mean, there is no answer to how long does it take for a patient to recover once plasma therapy is given. because we need to understand that most of these patients who are receiving plasma therapy have one or multiple organs that are not working well. And so the recovery takes time for all the organs to work. But if he was asking about how long does it take for a donor to donate plasma, and that is one question that a lot of people have in mind, is it takes around 90 minutes to 120 minutes for someone to go and donate plasma.
Okay. DM Tripathi is calling us from Prayagraj. Mr. Tripathi, please go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Tripathi, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, good evening. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Tripathi, good evening. Please ask your question.
My question is that this plasma concept or any concept, why not it should start with the Zika syndrome? I mean to say the gateway of the disease, because that ultimately go to lungs also, which can be treated. Secondly, I want to mention, if the question arises in the patient of corona, that throat problem, there can be combination of some medicine. If you don't get offended, I mention number one, erythromycin is a throat relevant. Secondly, etophylline and theophylline are the combination of the medicine for the lung. So if combination of this, like you can say, configuration can be created. And the above all, I just want to mention ICMR is acting like a political agency, though there may be very intelligent doctor and etc. But if you are attempting, they must encourage you rather than they should, you can say, simply say, no red flag. This doesn't sound good, as you are also a certified, educated, and you can say respected person. It is a very, very ugly scene I can see on the television, and it hurt to me.
Okay, Mr. Tripathi. Dr. Chabra, would you want to take that question? Mr. Tripathi is fairly upset, with the ICMR, saying, why are you calling something that is being tried and is giving successful results as illegal? After all, there are, even when you use plasma therapy in other diseases, sometimes I believe it's used in dengue as well, there are minimal side effects. Why dismiss it outright and call it illegal?
Yeah, let me clarify one thing. ICMR has not said that it cannot be used. ICMR has said that it cannot be, it should not be advocated as a standard of care and used. It should be used in a research setting. So you can use it, but when a treatment is not fully proven, there are some guidelines to use it. You have to take the informed consent of the patient and the attendant, and you have to let them know that it is still experimental, it's not proven, and we can try it, especially when there are exceptional circumstances like the coronavirus disease, where we do not have an established treatment per se. All you give is a supportive treatment. The other thing, when you when the product is in research phase, is you should not ideally charge the patient for that therapy, because it's still not established. So what ICMR has said is, don't advocate it as a standard of care. It should be used only in a research setting. When you use it in a research setting, you do it as per a protocol, you take approvals, you take informed consent, and you don't charge the patient. You can use it on compassionate grounds to save the life of the patient. There have been level 4 evidences which are there, but the patient should know that there are also some risks involved with plasma therapy, even though most of the risks are mild symptoms, but they should know that there have been severe symptoms also, including hypotension, cardiac arrest, respiratory arrest reported, even though in a minority of patients, but the patient should be aware about it, especially where the treatment has not been fully established per se. And I think that is what ICMR has been advocating. It's not saying don't use it.
Okay. Ajay is calling us from Mumbai. Ajay, please go ahead. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, Ajay, good evening. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Madam, it is not about the plasma. There are two questions of mine. One is I wanted to know for my base knowledge, I want to know if a gas cylinder person comes to my place to deliver a cylinder, what precautions should I take? And my second question is, the other person, there are many donors, their plasma can be used for the COVID-19 person or not?
Okay. Dr. Gilada, would you take that question? First of all, precautions to take when the cylinder comes, and the other was regarding plasma therapy.
Yeah, so all the precautions whenever you meet someone outside is just the same. Physical distancing, clean up the cylinder once it arrives, and make sure that you haven't interacted much with the person who's going to deliver. About the plasma therapy, can anyone donate plasma? So we need to understand that in plasma therapy, our goal is to get the antibodies to COVID-19, which means that it can only be taken from a person who has recovered from the disease. And when such a person is chosen, one of the callers had a concern that what if the person is infected? So the person needs to test negative in 2 different tests 24 hours apart to make sure that the person is not active or doesn't have an active infection. And once we've made sure that he doesn't have the disease but has now immune to the disease and has the antibodies, we take the blood, we separate the plasma component of the blood, and that plasma is now rich in the antibodies for COVID-19, which will hopefully help the person who is critically ill and receives the plasma.
Okay. Sumit is calling us from Bhopal. We don't have too much time now, but I think we can take a caller. Sumit, please go ahead. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to everyone out there. I was just willing to ask one question which is not related to the topic you guys are discussing. I was just asking that if a person has suffered from like a TB, tuberculosis or any such major illness in his past related to lungs, will he be having any kind of resistance toward COVID-19 or any kind of, as you can say, antibodies in his body to resist towards COVID-19? You got my question?
Dr. Gilada? Yes, we did. Dr. Gilada, would you answer that?
No other previous illness offers any immunity to COVID-19 because they all belong to different categories of either bacteria or viruses. So unfortunately, no other, not even TB, none of those diseases will ever offer any protection for a future infection of COVID-19.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Dr. Gilada, thank you very much for joining us as always. Dr. H.S. Chhabra, thank you very much for being part of the show. With that, it's a wrap. News and updates continue right here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Same time, same place.